Hello. Good thing seems to be that you're all getting this as soon as I've done it, because at least the first chat messages just coming on are, you know, like, come on straight away, if that makes sense, unlike some of the other streams I've done where it's been 5 minutes before any comments come in. So I think when I've been streaming for about a minute, it will tell me how many people are currently watching, but at least I've got a load of comments come up. Now, you might notice I've got a load of weapons over in that corner. That's specifically because people keep always saying, oh, get that weapon down, get that weapon down, so I've put a load of stuff there today so people will actually ask about it and I can show it. Because I want to see if I do a webcam live stream again, if more people watch them, because a lot of the game ones people don't watch. So we'll see. You can actually see a bit more of it. I've actually got the webcam this time further right on my screen, so it probably looks like I'm pointing left because it'll obviously be mirrored on the camera, but it's closer to the right side of my screen, which means it's obviously slightly further away from that stuff, so you've got a better angle to see it. It says 21 on my screen, but yeah, that's more than I normally get when doing a stream, so maybe these webcam ones do work better for that. Alright, good. Well, I know Poland was obviously occupied for a lot of its history, and was it the 100th anniversary of Polish independence recently? But although Poland wasn't really independent during a lot of the 20th century, obviously, because it was occupied by Nazi Germany and then the Soviet Union. Yeah. Yeah, it's a British L1A1 SLR, which is the British version of the FAL. A couple of differences with it, but overall very good. You'll notice your bill hooks there, Richard. I filmed the video on that today. I've rescheduled my videos a bit so it will be on earlier than a lot of my other videos, and I think that's December the 7th. The main video comes out on the bill hook. But, oh. Let's show that to the camera. If that's in frame. Trying to put it up without it hitting anything. Right, that should do for now. Don't actually store it in this room when I'm not using it. Yeah, that's Umberto Lenzi, Nightmare City. Umberto Lenzi did some really crap films. I quite like Umberto Lenzi though, but yeah, Nightmare City's the one with the like blood-drinking vampire zombies, isn't it? Where they go, oh, you have to shoot them in the head, and then after that point, nobody ever shoots them in the head again. Yeah, I'm doing one of these today to see if more people watch it, and I think they actually do. I don't know if it makes a difference in notifications, or if it's just more people like, oh, webcam, click on it. No, that. Unless you mean just because the wall is white, but there is not a French flag anywhere. Where are you looking to think there's a French flag? I'm quite interested now. Yeah, I'll get the SLR down, because otherwise people are going to keep asking about it. Let me just put the rapier flat. Yep, so as usual, everybody always asks about this. I'm just trying to see if I can get it at an angle where everyone can see it. L1A1 SLR, so British Army version of the FAL. Has the folding charging handle for it. Obviously this is a deactivated one, but if I can get the thing to open up, it doesn't seem to want to budge. That's weird. There we go. So it's got the regular sort of FAL style opening where that just breaks open there. Obviously flip up sights at the back there. One of the interesting features on the British FALs, or like SLRs basically, is it's got the expanding trigger guard. As you can see there, so you can wear it with like cold weather mittens. Yeah, I've been to Poland. There's actually some videos on my channel about Poland, well, when I was there. I'll probably end up missing some of the comments if it's gone too far back, because I don't have slow mode on. Actually, I'll have to put slow mode on. I'll put it for 10 seconds at the moment. The bow I can't really get out easily, but I think the bow you can see there is just one of like the Barnet flat bows. You can see the string as well just there for the much bigger bow I've got. The one that's like a 30-inch draw or something. Oh yeah, zombie is in like zombie flesh eaters, the good one. Oh yeah, just the trousers. I've got a couple of pair of Flecton trousers because they're really cheap and good. Although these are the ones in the camo pattern I don't like as much because it's more modern. But the actual, in terms of pockets and being comfortable trousers, they're very good. They're also better in the winter because they're thicker than British Army trousers. Cool, what's that, a GM30? Oh yeah, I'll see if I can balance it. I'll actually show you it because so yeah, this was the rapier I got, the John Barnett one, which according to some people is absolutely terrible. But then the only thing I don't like about it is the scabbard, because it leaves loads of residue on the sword. And this is probably going to be difficult to get entirely in frame because it's a big military rapier. Is that in frame there? I don't know how well it picks my voice up either when I'm actually sort of stood around here, because I've got quite a directional microphone, so it's obviously aimed when I'm sitting in the chair. But you should be able to see on that it's got the kind of longsword style blade, rather than being like a diamond or triangular point blade. I'll just put that back in its scabbard and stick it back up on the board. So the annoying thing is it keeps getting scabbard residue on it. So I'll wipe that down once I've finished doing this stream. If I can get that to stand up. It's not really balanced very well there. Put it in that corner for now. Alright, that's good, Mike. Yeah, because what I'll do actually is I'll just turn the microphone to face more in the centre, so it should still pick me up here, but if I'm standing there it'll pick me up a bit better there as well. The R1A1 probably is the best FAL just because it's got a couple of improvements to it over regular FALs. Where if you see some of the videos on like Forgotten Weapons, why some countries moved away from the FAL, that's not necessarily applicable for why, you know, things like with the SLR. Because the SLR had lots of good features, like saying like the mitten bit on the trigger guard. Supposedly with the charging handle, and I obviously can't test this because I've got the deactivated one, the British FAL's charging handle actually lets you force a round into battery and kind of extract rounds better if there's actually been a jam on it. I've heard that they're going to destroy surplus Flecton, but I kind of doubt that's going to entirely happen. Play some of the old Elder Scrolls ones like Morrowind. Just on eBay for outserts. What do you mean, like 44 dot? I don't have any of that. No, I just collect Militaria because it's cool. Haven't played TF2 in ages. Well, obviously, my favourite sword's the falchion by far. And the great thing of this is now I've started building up my forearms, I can actually sort of wield this properly. Which is, you know, good. That'll completely destroy the room if I actually try and swing it about in here, but, you know, having a short, heavier sword's actually quite good for balance, especially compared to something like the rapier. Just lean into the chat and have a look like this. Alright, hello to Bulgaria then. Messer and falchions, they have different things. Falchions, you might be able to see with mine, have the proper sword kind of handguard, where you obviously have the blade, then you've got, like, on all the stuff for the hilt, you've got obviously, like, the crossguard, or whatever you want to call it. Then you've got your, like, tang going through the handle, and then you've got your pommel at the back. I'll show you, I haven't obviously got a messer. In terms of blades, messers are very similar, but if we get out a knife, so if you have a look at this knife, messers are basically big knives. That's what the name means when they're called like Grossmesser. So you've got like a riveted knife handle. So exactly how this pocket knife's got its handle, that's what a messer has. You know, compared to a sword's construction, where if you look at the two of them, the sword's got the proper, like, you know, construction of all the parts in a row, whereas a messer would just have a construction like on a little knife. Because yeah, literally Grossmesser, big knife, because civilians weren't allowed swords at that point, so it was to, you know, get around that fact, and it would obviously be cheaper to manufacture messers. Yeah, so I was saying this is easily the best of my swords, the falchion, and obviously it was the one I had commissioned to be exactly how I wanted it. But the thing was, like I said, that's why these sword forums really annoy me, because they're like, oh, the Heron Armory's falchion, it handles like a brick, and that's me just swinging it about left-handed now. It's like, no, this is very lightweight and manoeuvrable for its size, you know, there's, you know. No, I've not done any reenactment. I don't think there's even much HEMA stuff near me, and if, like, I've moaned about HEMA enough before, that unless it was a HEMA group that used, you know, proper heavy equipment and actually beat each other up with it, I'd have no interest, because, you know, like, really lightweight plastic and foam swords, you know, it's not a reflection on the real kind of martial arts of the time. The L1A1 SLR, which I got down earlier, was my favourite gun ever. I don't have a long sword. You can see that sword there behind the rapier. There's a sword. I'm not going to get that one down because the flail's in front of it. That's an arming sword, so that's like a shorter long sword. But I don't actually have a long sword, no. Yeah, I've got two. I've got the halberd just out of frame slightly, and then there's the bill hook that Richard did for me there next to it. I can use the falchion to actually point at things. This is quite handy. Yeah, I mean, messers and falchions are a lot more practical, because you've got obviously the single-edged blade. If you go for one that has a proper thrusting point as well, not ones that just kind of taper off at the end. So then you've obviously got a sword that you can thrust with and chop with. This is like a late design falchion, where they're turning more into back swords and that kind of thing. Earlier falchions are, you know, heavier and cleaver-like. But in general, messers and falchions are really nice, because they're swords that are very easy to use. They're like more like cutlasses. So, you know, it's easier to learn how to use one of these properly, because it's all about the thrust and the slash, basically. It's not, yeah, it's not as fancy in many ways. I've got a 480, 8GB, but when I upgrade my PC, hopefully soonish next year, I'll have to just look at what the best card is on the market for my price range at the time. Yeah, it'd be good, Rich, to see you have a go at making something. I don't know, I saw that's developing at the moment with Russia and Ukraine. SADF, is that South African Defence Forces? I'll Google the camo, because is it a single colour camo or is it actually a... oh, I've got 51 people watching, so obviously doing these webcam ones works a lot better. Oh yeah, don't forget to like the stream, everybody, please. Or dislike it if you really want to. Oh, Brent's done a video on it. Is that single colour though? As it's single colour, it won't work as well as any kind of disruptive one. So what I'd say would be better is literally if they had that brown with like some shade of green just kind of mixed on it. I've just seen a stupid article I'm going to have a look at. I'm not going to even bother reading this clickbait. Oh, you've missed me swinging some swords about. There's that. Yeah, that's particularly why I actually had one commissioned, because lots of the, Stu, when I was looking, Stu, lots of the, like, falchions, like the windlass ones, didn't have, fighting handguards on. So obviously this one you've got the bit you can punch with at the front, which obviously also protects your knuckles. You've got the sword trapper there for obviously trapping a sword. You've got like the pommel with that particular bit on it, which would be quite nasty if that was brought down, because obviously you can see it's got like a claw shape to it, you know, brought down on somebody's head. So yeah, you can obviously punch with this handguard in like close quarters, as well as obviously offering hand protection. I prefer Doom 1 to Doom 2. Yeah, I saw Ukraine's having martial law, because it sounds a bit like a ploy from their, like, you know, imposed kind of leader, because they didn't have a proper election, did they, after all the sort of stuff happened a couple of years ago to keep in power. Right, what I'll get down for you, because it's over there, you might just be able to see the bottom bit of it, is the scabbard. I'll just leave the falchion out. I just need to be careful how I put it down so I don't slice my bed open with it. Get this down, hang on, I want to grab it here so I don't put any more rust marks on the... I think it's this Wednesday the video goes live on this. Really take the light out there. That's the windlass 1860 cavalry sabre based on the US one. The blade's quite interesting on this. I don't know how well it will show up on the webcam. Yeah, I mean, spring steel is good enough if you're doing a sword blade. I think both my Hanway one at the back and the John Barnett one are spring steel, and that seems fine to me. The Hanway one I've really smashed about over the years, and I've never had any problems with the blade of that. The handguards come loose and I've had to glue it on. and the leather wrap came off of the sword, you know, like disintegrated, but the actual blade itself's always been fine. No, there's not a Lee Enfield carbine. What you can see right at the top is it the number 3 Lee Enfield, or is it the number 1 Mark III, whatever it's called, but that's, you can only see a tiny bit of the stock there. But yeah, there is, if I can do this without breaking the camera. Yeah, see, there's the Lee Enfield. You can see the halberd there as well now. Yeah, well, you can't see the SMLE up there normally. There's a bill hook and a halberd over there. Ah, that'd be interesting, Mike. Yeah, I should be on around then. Don't see why I wouldn't be on. Yeah, I mean, a lot of my friends find a lot of this stuff quite cool. Because you'd be surprised with some people, you know, if they actually come over and then you give them a sword to handle, they love it. I have never met anybody in real life who goes, oh, swords and maces, you know, you need to ban them. Most normal people don't seem to have an opinion on it at all, to be honest. Yeah, it's a bit like the Obrez pistol where they turn the Moss in the Gant into like a sawn-off little thing. Don't know what that is off the top of my head. I'm assuming you're not on about videotapes, are you, when you say VHS? And I know what Croatia is. Yeah, I do, but the problem is, this is really crappy drywall. If you put too much weight on that, like a big board, the wall will literally shatter and it will fall down. You can actually see a load of holes over there in the background, where I've had stuff in before and it's just caused chunks of the wall to fall out. Oh, I just looked up, so that's a Croatian rifle, is it? Yeah, it looks alright, but obviously without knowing how well it works, I wouldn't know. I've got some old Austrian army boots, yeah. Yeah, look up, it's actually in the FAQ about the airsoft thing, so look that up on my channel if you're interested. I'm not going to go and get that out of the cupboard in the gun bag where it is. Yeah, no, it is saying I need one, but like I was saying, the issue is this wall is really bad for hanging stuff up on. I can have a couple of guns on there and that's about it when I've got the sword and the mace there. But I don't want to put too much weight on it, because as I said, I've had other bits of the wall where like a bit stuff's fallen off and a chunk of walls come out, just because it's literally, if you drill into that, it's, you start drilling and then the drill just goes straight through, because it's, you know, like one of those really crap interior kind of thin plaster walls. Yeah, it's not actually been wet here today. It's been wet like the last few days, but today's been actually pretty dry. Yeah, doesn't bother me. I mean, the only sword that's normally hanging up there is the sabre and the Hanway one there. Those other swords wouldn't be there. I've just got them there for the video, but like the Morning Star, like flail would be there. They're not going to fall down. Like if they did, the entire wall would come down. That would kill me anyway, I imagine. So the most dangerous thing would actually be if the Lee Enfield found me, to be honest. That's more likely to crush me than, because the swords are in scabbards anyway. Yeah, you're lucky then, Mike. You've got a more solid house than this one. As I was saying, the good thing is, since I've started doing the training, like forearm training, you basically just do that with the sword quite a lot, with your arm extended. that's actually really good for allowing me to, you know, wield these things a lot better. Like, I can actually appreciate the falchion far more now that I've started building up the forearm muscles to use it properly than I ever could before. So at some point I'll really need to get a load of like pumpkins or something and then just do like sabres and the rapier and the falchion and everything, just chopping stuff up. I really don't know Grallock because it's one of those weird grey areas where they've changed the law on it several times. But I think you can own them, but they have to be like bright colours now, and they can't vent forward or something. They have to like vent up or sideways or downwards or something. No, that's a real rifle. You can't legally own a Denix one here. You can own a real one, but not a Denix one because of how our stupid laws work. I think the grip trainer would work. I have a grip trainer in the drawer down there. It'd certainly build up some of the forearm muscles, but obviously the thing is with a sword is you don't generally train the muscles up you'd need for a sword or machete unless you actually start using them a lot, because it's nearly all like forearm there or your shoulder. So, you know, biceps and triceps don't really help much of a sword because most of it is either going to be your shoulder there or your forearm there. So that's why it ends up being quite difficult to wield a sword even if you do weightlifting or whatever, because you're just not used to it. Yeah, I've got a couple of Denix revolvers, but Denix weapons post a certain data banned in the UK because they class them as imitation firearms. Right, cheers Fortnite. Yeah, exactly that. You can get them, but you have to jump through a load of hoops because of the VCRA. Same thing applies to airsoft guns. But yeah, that's good tonight. That so far, how long have I been streaming? About 27 minutes, is it? What time did it start? Yeah, so I've been streaming about 27 minutes and there's 51 people watching now. It's gone up to 53 people watching. Whereas when I've been doing a lot of the video game streams, it stays at like 10 people for the entirety of the stream. Yeah, that sounds very cool, Shackleton. I can't imagine many places doing that. But yeah, what I've been doing with my swords, which probably sounds really cheesy, is actually trying to get a big open space so I don't bang into anything. And then, you know, actually having your arm extended and actually doing a lot of this sort of stuff where you just suddenly... It's actually quite good if you do it in front of a mirror. You look at it, then you sort of, you know, go as if you're going to block or whatever, then bring the sword down and then bring it back up and do all that sort of stuff. So you can actually, although you're not sparring with a person, you start doing a lot of the like muscle development and like getting the muscle memory down for actually swinging the sword fast. So another thing is recovering it, because let's say you go to swing it, you need to be able to bring it back quickly rather than being just, because apparently that's one of the problems for people who've done no sword practice, is they can sometimes swing it down fast but then they can't recover it, which leaves you open. Obviously what you need to do is actually be able to do, and I know that's not a proper manoeuvre, I'm trying not to hit stuff, but you need to actually be able to, you know, really quickly go between, you know, stuff like this. And I need to be really careful because in a minute I'm just going to wreck my screen or PC if I'm swinging a sword like this about doing that. But I'm looking forward to Stalker 2 if it's released properly, and it ends up being a good game, but I don't have lots of faith just simply because I don't know how many of the original developers are still making it. No medieval armour at all, just a couple of weapons. Like, all the armour I've got is like modern riot stuff and like ballistic helmets. No, don't have a fallout shelter. Yeah, that's the thing with the falchion is sort of I'm getting used to how manoeuvrable this is, obviously being a lighter sword. Whereas like with the saber and everything, I need to get a lot more used to sort of handling it, because let me show you. Shall we use the rapier for example, because the rapier is the heaviest of all of them and the longest of all my swords, so like to do this sort of manoeuvre with it takes a lot more strength. So obviously I can't whip this around at anywhere near the speed I can with the other one yet, and obviously I'm being a bit apprehensive because I don't want to smash my PC up, as I've said before. But yeah, obviously I need to get a bit of forearm training done with this sword soon to actually be able to wield this one efficiently, because you can feel this a lot more in your shoulders and forearm because of how much bigger it is really. But the point of balance on this is still good. If I can get that just about shown. I'm going to cut my jumper if I'm not careful. Is that the point of balance there? Maybe back a little bit. I can't get it to completely do it without flying off, but point of balance is about there where I've got it at the moment, as you can see. So the point of balance is still in the right place on this, even though everybody's like, oh, jump on it, sorts of crap. I mean, yeah, a really high-end rapier of this style would probably weigh 300 grams less or something. So there's always that, but in terms of point of balance and everything, and the sword actually being a proper sword, this one certainly does the job in that regard. I know I'm not really talking to anybody directly with that question, but it's just something I wanted to bring up because it's been annoying me. A lot of the stuff you read on some of these sword forums. I'd say my falchion's my favourite one now, to be honest, but that's just because I'm becoming to appreciate more. I've already done a video on my PC and I can't show you it because my webcam's plugged into it and webcam's on the screen. Probably not much Finnish gear other than gas masks. I'm trying to think if I do own anything that's definitely Finnish, but probably not other than the gas masks. Well, it came sharp, but you'd use a whetstone or whatever else. See ya, Electro. No, don't have an MP40. Very few people would have a real MP40 due to the rarity of them, but you can't get a replica one because of the VCRA stuff in the UK. Yeah, so what's £2 then in kilos? Is that close to a kilo? Yeah, 900 grams, pretty much. No, I don't have a katana, actually. Well, if you see one for a good price, it's worth bidding on one. You have to wait and see when I do my videos on it, because I've got an M40 now and I've filmed videos of it, so you'll see my opinion on it, won't you, when the videos go live. Most of my videos are on gas masks, so you're asking a bit of a pointless question there to say make more videos on gas masks. Of course there's going to be more gas mask videos. For €20 you're going to be a bit hard pressed. All I can say is get a GP5 and FP5 filter maybe. French M51 or Draeger M65 if you can get one in a good enough condition and a filter for under €20, but I think you're going to be hard pressed. Well, in both those scenarios you're pretty much dead, because if you've got a Soviet mask with a brand new filter that doesn't fit it properly, you're dead because you've not got filtered air coming in. And if you have a good mask like an FM12 but with an old expired filter on it, you're also dead. So that's a catch-22 scenario. You can't have a solution to that. That's pretty good, Richard. Canadian C4 when they eventually get down to a price, or I see a UK seller with one for not stupid amounts of money. Yeah, lags are from World War II era, so yeah, £20 to £30 is very good if you can get them for that. Probably. We don't actually know, as I've said before, with the M10, because there's never been a proper lab report done on the filters. €30 if you can get an Israeli one with a filter, then that. Yeah, exactly. I'm never going to spend that sort of money on stuff like that. That's why I always sort of say, you know, I get the masks when I can get them. If you're still watching, Mike, I think I said to you the other day in a stream, I've started rereading this again, because I haven't read it in ages. If I can get it in frame. It's even worse now, isn't it? Hold it back there. But obviously, pretty hefty book. But yeah, so far the David Lynch version isn't actually too far removed from it, to be honest. Sterling. Sterling was meant to be one of the best SMGs for quite a long time. But sadly I don't have a deactivated one or anything. SHMS is my favourite Soviet mask. Alright, see you, Stu. I've not seen them for sale here. If I have, I've never bothered getting one, so I assume they're rarer than the actual CM3. There's an FAQ in the video for Reason Fortnite. This will be your last warning, because you've been doing this a couple of times now, so I'm getting a bit suspicious of you. As I've said, read the FAQ. You know, it is a blaster rifle. Oh, is that a T-35, whatever they're called, commie? The one that's in Fallout 4, or the French M51 looking thing, anyway. I don't actually have a British greatcoat. I have both an East German and a Czechoslovakian sort of trench coat thing, like the cold weather, wet weather ones, and then I have an East German great thick woolen greatcoat, which is really, really warm and comfortable, but I never wear it unless it's actually dry and cold. It's also supply and demand. The thing is, Cold War stuff ended up being so cheap because they mass-produced it prepared for World War III. And then it never happened, and all the stuff went in bulk onto the surplus market. Whereas stuff like M50s just kind of drip onto the surplus market as and when their like military period finishes. Right, if I'm counting proper swords, I've got... I might have them all in this video actually. Right, arming sword, that's one. Oh, I can do them in the order I bought them as well. So arming sword was the first sword I got. Falchion was the second sword I got. Third sword I got was this sabre, 1860 sabre. Fourth sword I bought was the rapier. And that's all the proper swords I've got. I'm afraid I couldn't give you an accurate number on machetes or anything like that without physically finding all of them and counting them. Probably because there's a market for them to sell them. Tank helmet's over there, so I can't get it down. Is that an M65 jacket by any chance, Alex? If it is, I really like M65 jackets. Yeah, that sounds good, Richard. I've put a link to your channel in on the one I've done on the bill hook, but as I said, that will still be probably about 2 weeks until that video goes live, just because I had so many videos scheduled. I had to try and find one I could swap it around. But yeah, hopefully people who watch that will watch yours, click onto your channel. When I tested that bill hook earlier, it was really good for thrusting, really good. But the only annoying thing was the cardboard I was smashing up with it, because I had some like thick, you know, like corrugated sort of packaging cardboard. Quite often what would happen is the bill hook's like weight when it was brought down, although it would start cutting into it, it would actually just cause the cardboard to totally collapse anyway. But one of the hits, which demonstrated, you know, how good your work was the bill hook went straight through it, hit the concrete, and it wasn't damaged at all by smashing the concrete. I really like the Flecktarn stuff, but the Alpenflage stuff's good as well. It depends. It depends if you're interested in the camo pattern on it, or just how good the quality of the material is. Yeah, just look up my helmet videos rather than asking all this stuff. Just search on my channel. It's easier. No, I've not read that. Is that the thing that what's his name was in? Who was in Waterworld? Kevin Costner. Flecktarn trousers or Alpenflage trousers. Modern British MTP trousers are good in the sense that they've got good pockets, and I like the camo pattern, but they're very thin, so they're good in hot weather, but they rip super easily if you climb over barbed wire or anything with them on. Yeah, I thought so, because I like M65 jackets. That's what I was guessing it was the US Woodland one, because that was the period they did that camo M65 jackets were the main thing. I've actually got a Soviet rebreather thing if you look at it. It sounds interesting anyway, but yeah, if they all shot through the pumpkins, no worries. Oh, it's not an M65 camo pattern, it's called M81 Woodland. It's really good. I think it's really good, but I've not actually got, other than the M65 jacket, I've not got any US stuff with it on. But it's like British Soldier 95, they're both very good Woodland camos. If you want a Woodland camo, you know, by all means, either of those are brilliant, but there's not much to say on them, really. I don't know, Fluffy Wolf. Literally a couple of pounds or dollars for a GP5. Depends what you mean, if you're referring to particular stuff or the history or what. I filmed a 50k video, but I'm just going to have to rearrange the video so it goes on just after I get 50k views. Not views, subs even. Depends which digital camo, because digital camo doesn't mean anything in itself. It just means it's a camo that's been used computer aided, like illustration, for them to make it. What about T. Lawrence? So obviously I do know about Lawrence of Arabia. What do you mean, or the American? Yeah, if you're going to name, you need to name an American mask if you're asking me to compare it to an American mask, not just the American. Yeah, if it's blue, it's Union. If it's grey, it's Confederate. Right. To number 1, no, I don't know that. And L85A3, I assume it's a bit better than the A2, which was okay, A1 being total crap, so. But yeah, L85A3 is probably completely serviceable as a rifle, but you know, the L85A1 was such a bad rifle. It's kind of forever, well, I guess that person there is the person you're asking me about. Or like the PH Gassard. Yeah, Mad Max 1 and 2 are great. New one, Fury Road, was pretty good. Didn't like Mad Max 3, thought that was crap. I'll look it up. I think people have asked me about the Estonian camo before. But I really like the modern finish one. Was that 05 camo or something it's called? We're trying to find an actual high-res picture of the Estonian camo, rather than it being... yeah, the Estonian one looks a lot like the modern finish one. They both look very good. They're all like CAD-PAT as well, aren't they? Yeah, the Estonian one seems very similar to CAD-PAT, in all honesty. But if it works, it works. Not really, because the fuel cost for keeping a 4x4 is silly. You know, I'm perfectly happy having a car that drives fine on roads. Impossible to answer, general person, because that would require me to know exactly how much I've spent on all of them, which I don't even remember anymore. Yeah, I've seen enemy at the gates. I don't think owning a 4x4 is a bad idea at all. It's just I'd want one that'd be actually quite fuel economical, and Land Rovers really aren't. But yeah, I think you're getting more and more like 4x4s getting cheaper now, just simply, you know, because there's more of a market for them. But oh, I didn't hear that, Mike. So I guess that's a US release, is it? Because from what I understand, the US release in 1080p looks about the same as the British release in the lower resolution, because they could only restore it so far. So although it's in 1080p, it, you know, will only look like the same as the British DVD release. But yeah, that sounds good anyway. You'll probably notice a lot more things you don't notice from the old like VHS looking copies of it before. Yeah, and probably insurance. Like I said, I'm perfectly happy with my Dacia, to be honest. What I do like, though, is like some of the old, what they call, like the larders, the 4x4 little larders, because they can actually go across more terrain than a Land Rover can go across, simply because they weigh a lot less, so they don't sink into boggy ground, so they're actually better as a 4x4. Yeah, that sounds right, Dominic. Obviously the original. Although Tom Atkins is in the remake, isn't he? But obviously the original one, because most horror remakes are crap. Well, it would be my favourite one, wouldn't it? Which is in the description as well. Again, it's getting to the stage now with this stream where I'm getting the repetitive questions again, which really annoy me. I mean, if it's in a full enclosed armoured suit and it's got filters, it would work. But you'd have to say which, like, particular franchise you're on about. You're on about, like, Fallout or, like, Warhammer or whatever. The problem is the Neva's still not very good on fuel economy. But I think if you got a Neva, you put like a really good modern engine in it, that would be really good, because you'd have a lightweight car with a well-optimised engine that's still in 4x4 configuration. I will at some point, Nathaniel. World at War was alright. Modern Warfare is probably my favourite, the original Modern Warfare one. Well, it depends what time period you're on about, Alex. If you look at stuff not too far ago, most people just had little town cars, which made the most sense for most people. But then, because our trends follow America, lots of people started buying SUVs and 4x4s when they didn't need them. So now our market's massively changed to cater to SUVs and 4x4s, just simply because it became a trend in America. So you've got lots of people with them who never make use of the off-road capability. And that's why you get some really bad SUVs that don't even have off-road capability, but they kind of try and make it look like they do. But the people who buy them never use them off-road anyway. I guess a few 100 kilos, completely impossible for me to know because it's a fictional thing. Oh, old style minis, yeah, but the problem is Mini now makes loads of really big heavy cars that aren't small or minis at all. So, you know, what's the logic in that? Like they do one, is it the Clubman, I think it's called? I can't remember if it's the Clubman or it's called something like Man. And it's literally a full-size 4x4 that just has a Mini's body look to it. Yeah, it depends on what type of old cars. Yeah, Countryman, you're right, it is Countryman. But yeah, because there was one day we had parked next to one in a car park and I was just amazed at the size of it. You know, they put the Mini name on it, but it's bigger than a lot of SUVs. You see, to me, a Mini is only a proper Mini if it's a mini car, you know, as the name should imply. But yeah, with old cars, depends on the model of car. It's like saying, do I like old gas masks? Depends on the mask. It's been going 51 minutes, so it'll probably go for about another 10 or so minutes. But I'm glad tonight that I've had like 50 odd people watching for a lot of it, because when I've been doing loads of streams recently, only about 10 or so people have been watching them. Right, cheers Zimon Slav, if I'm pronouncing that right. Don't actually know. No, I am not married and I do not have kids. I do not want them either. Alright, I'll have a quick look up at that. But Peugeot used to do like a 4x4, didn't they? Well, it wasn't necessarily, I don't know if it was four-wheel drive though, but it was the one that was really good at going off-road. Back when Peugeot made good cars, so we're talking quite a while ago, aren't we? Yeah, Renault 12 looks alright. There's the airsoft answer in the description. They used domestic, well, they didn't even make it, but basically the Soviet SHM-41, but then just given a new name, but the exact same mast. No, I've never actually seen a Hillman Imp. I'll Google it quickly for you. I'm not a massive Metro fan, as I always say, so if it turns out to be a good game, good, but I'm not going to pre-order it or anything. I don't pre-order games full stop, whoever makes them, because that means you let the developer get away with making an inferior product. That looks sort of interesting. If it was a good car, you know, it's a good car. But oh, you're right, I need to put this back in, don't I? Because I must have deleted this by accident when I did the last video. There we go. It should now say the title of the video has read description in it. I can't play Red Dead Redemption 2 because I don't have a modern gen console, so unless Rockstar pull their finger out and release it on PC, they're idiots, aren't they, really? Unless I can get a full, like, plate carrier kind of style vest cheaply, then no. Soft body armor's fine for me. Yeah, I'm going to do more video game streams. I just wanted to do a webcam stream to see how many more people watched it, and the answer is, like, I get about 5 times more views doing one of these than if I play a game. I'm assuming I've missed some comments, but... Yeah, but did it come with the plates? That's my point, because I have no interest in the vest itself without the plates in it. I know you can buy it and then like make your own plates a bit cheaper than buying them, but... Alright, see ya. I think it was Electro that asked, wasn't it? But I can actually demonstrate something. I think he's gone off, but what I was saying about the Messer compared to a falchion. A Messer would be pretty much exactly like this machete with the riveted sort of handle, like that. So if we had both of them, and then just looked at the handles, that's where the difference would be. When you say Virtus, which bit do you mean? Because that's just their name for the armour upgrade program, isn't it? So it covers helmets, vests, everything. Well, I have no interest in the Call of Duty games anymore, to give you my honest answer. Yep, well, I've already said it's my favourite rifle, so I don't need to keep saying that over and over. Ah, sounds interesting, Rich. What are you going to use that for? Nein, mein Deutsch ist nicht gut, Lorenz. There you go. Not if you use eBay, Soviet guy. I'll have a look up the Virtus vest, but... I assume it's like soft body armour Kevlar, is it, in it, with just like the plate bit on the front? Just looking on eBay at the moment. The only Virtus stuff I can see is like well over 100 quid, so I wouldn't be paying that for it. If you didn't hear me say earlier, Nick, my falchion's my favourite sword. because it's a simple and effective cleaving sword. Obviously this one's got a good point on it as well, so thrusting of it's fairly efficient. French M51, that's probably it. I feel like I've missed some comments there because it sounds like people are chatting about stuff. But no, the SAS used the SF10, then the CT12, and I don't know if they've upgraded to an FM53 now. I really don't know. I really like MTP, which is British multicam, which is ever so slightly different, but not by much. But yeah, it's good camo, as long as you're using it in the right environments for it. But you're never going to have one camo that can work absolutely everywhere, because you often get people that try and argue you can, and then obviously people who say, oh no, it's crap because you're using it in the wrong environment. The whole point of like multicam and MTP is that they work fairly well in pretty much everywhere, but they're not standout excellent camos in any particular thing. But I think MTP is good enough as a camo that it works, you know, like well enough anywhere that if you didn't know what camo to pick, you might as well go with something like that, because as long as you're concealing yourself properly, you're not going to stand out with MTP on. Can't really do that live because I'm not going to smash them up inside the house, am I? Now, they were asking about L85A3 earlier, so, you know, I'm not going to go all through what I said about them again. You have to watch when the live stream's ended. You can watch what I said earlier in the stream about them. But I'm going to be finishing any minute now because it's gone on for over an hour now, this live stream. Did you say it was 8:30, Mike, if you're still on, that your video premieres? You can actually have a look on your channel if you've got it set to go on yet. I think for the people that are interested, I'm pretty certain that I've got an M40 video this week. Let me tell you what the videos are coming up this week for people who are interested in watching them. Just give me a second. Okay, so it's the 26th today, isn't it? So on Wednesday the 28th, there's the video on that saber. I did a really bad attempt at cutting a bottle with it, so you get to watch me fail at doing that as well. Then on November the 30th, which is Friday, there's a video, US M40 protective mask, so a video about my M40 and its accessories. And then on December the 2nd, which is Sunday, there's the S10 versus the M40 versus the PMK1, so comparing three fairly similar masks. Yeah, that's cool, Mike. It's just for me to remind myself that it's actually on there. Well, it was used by the US, it's not used anymore. They use the Avon M50 now. Well, as in like nerve agents, Ivan. I've kind of talked about them as much as I can without you know, like retreading, rehashing the same videos. Yeah, I'm only going to be on a couple more minutes now, Mike. I need to start wrapping this up. It's just sometimes people talk to me about a subject I find interesting and then the stream doesn't end. Sledge's mask isn't a real mask. Alright, I'll wrap it up now then if there's no new questions being asked. So thanks for watching everybody. This experiment was quite interesting. because I found out today that when I stream... Now, I'll ask people a load of questions actually quickly. If you're watching this, did you all get a notification for this stream? Because what I'm interested in is when I stream video games and not many people watch them, do you not get notifications for those? Or is it just you get the notification but you're not very interested in watching them? Because that would be sort of what I'm more interested in finding out. So everybody, so I'd say 90% of people that have replied so far got the notifications for this stream, so that's why they've clicked on it. So that's interesting to know. Yeah, well, that's the thing I found interesting. This one, like 5 seconds after I started streaming this, I had like 10 people say hello. Whereas sometimes when I do the video game streams as well, it's like 5 minutes before you get the first comment. Yeah, you need to click the bell for notifications. Well, I think Fallout 76 is a big pile of wank, so there's my answer for you there. Right, okay, thanks everybody for watching. So I guess, yeah, just some people don't get the notifications. Yeah, but that doesn't matter, because what I'm saying is every time I do a stream, regardless of the time of day, more people always watch these webcam ones. Anyway, I really need to wrap this up because I keep saying that and then I don't finish it. So thanks for watching, everybody. It was good to do a stream tonight where I've actually had loads of people on, rather than like 5 to 10 people throughout the entire thing. So yeah, thank you for watching. Whether or not I start streaming a new game on Thursday, I don't know. If I don't stream a new game, I'll do another webcam stream because people watch them. But we'll see. Right, see you everybody. Bye.